Hi everybody, it's Chris here with a quick WordPress tutorial today, and this is something that I was teaching one of my students earlier today, and so I wanted to shoot this quick tutorial because I think this is something that's really underutilized in WordPress, either because people are just not really sure what to do, or they're just a little bit wary of using it. They're having a lot of experience with it, and that's custom CSS settings. And it's actually a lot simpler than you think. So we're going to go through a really simple example today of using custom CSS. Now let's just have a look at a sample page I've got up with some standard things. I've just got some standard placeholder text in here, because what we're going to do is we're going to use in this example custom CSS just to change the font size of this body text. So if we go back into our dashboard, you can see I'm using Visual Composer here. We've got a text block element in here that we're using. We're just going to open the text block settings, and if we click on text, you can see that there's all our HTML for the page. And what custom CSS does is it determines how that HTML is viewed on your screen. So what we're going to do is, at the bottom of the text block settings, you'll see that there's a box here for extra class name, and this is not somewhere where you add lines of code or anything like that. This is purely where we're going to give a name to the command we're going to create, and because we're going to be changing the font size on this page, let's call it call it anything you like, but we're going to call it body font size. Okay, we're going to save that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click on this page settings icon here, which many of you may or may not have used before, and when we click on that, it's going to open the custom CSS settings for this page. So what we're going to type in here, we're going to start with a full stop, then we're going to type in the name we created for this command, which is what did we use, body font size. Okay, we're going to create a space, and then we're going to enter an open squiggly command bracket there, drop a line. You can see that by default it's added a close bracket, which is going to appear by default at the end of the command. So what we've now got to type in here is it will be font dash size. Yes, we put a dash in there, we never leave spaces between words. Font size, and then we're going to put in the size that we want to make the font, and I'm going to make that 20 pixels. We're going to save that. We're going to update. Yes, we always update, remember. And once that's updated, we can go to our page and we can refresh that page, and then as you can see, all of the font, the font size on that page, all of the text on that page, the font size is increased. Okay, very, very simple. You know, and we've done that without the need for any plugins, because you can see actually, if you have a look, when you go into text block settings, most of the time you won't have any standard settings there for font type and font size. You know, there are various plugins you can add to do that, but you know, I've spoken about this before with plugins. You really don't want to be installing plugins unless you absolutely need them. There are you know, there are pros and cons to plugins, and you know, I don't really believe in adding plugins for standard functions where you can do them without. You know, there are some issues you can create by you know, installing dozens and dozens of unnecessary plugins. So what we've been able to do is to change the font size without the need for a plugin at all. Let's just go back, because the font size I think was a little bit too big, so let's just go back in there just to run through that again. We open our page settings, our custom CSS settings, and let's, you know, that text is a bit big, so let's reduce it. Let's go 17, I think would be big enough. So we'll save that. We'll update the page again. We'll go back into our page on the site, we'll refresh, And as you can see, we've now reduced that font size down to 17. And that's a really simple way. I mean, there's all sorts of things you can do with custom CSS settings. It's almost limitless, but this was just a really basic example of how you start off using it. And I hope you found that really useful. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. There's lots more tutorials coming, and if you found that useful, please share this video with all of your friends and your groups. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next tutorial coming soon. Bye for now.